Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by. Or if it's your first time, thank you for clicking on the video and welcome. So my name's Kathy. I do a lot of different content, but also a lot of Bible readings and things like that. So I haven't done a just a talking video other than Bible readings for a while. I was sick pretty much all of January, and yeah, so I'm finally, I think, fully recovered. It took over 4 weeks. Oh my gosh, sickest I've ever been. And I don't hardly get sick. But anyways, so I wanted to do a quick video about just financial role models when I was growing up. Yeah, the video will be titled something like, did you have bad financial role models? And I want to put financial in there because, you know, you can have bad role models just for all kinds of stuff. But at least finances narrows it down. So, and I will tag a couple friends of mine. So Stacy, I'll link her. I think it's Stacy 1975. She does a lot of frugal living tips, all kinds of great ideas. And she did a video a couple days ago, kind of along these lines. And I said, oh, I was just going to do a video about that, about how she was raised and things that she learned as she got older. That's like, wow, that's not, yeah, there are different ways of doing things. So, and then my other friend, Victoria, Queen V34, I believe, she has talked about some frugal living tips, also finances, saving. She's really good about saving and paying off things. So I will link both of those, and those are personal friends of mine that I can vouch for. So getting into it, so when we were growing up, it was my brother and I, and then my mom and dad, and I didn't realize a lot of things till even just recently in the last, because I'm in my early 50s now, and probably in the last 10 years, maybe, realized that, gosh. So to try to summarize things, growing up, we had a big house. It was built for, like, my mom, after she passed, I found the actual plans. She saw this drawing of a house in a magazine in the 70s, and she cut it out and found a builder to build this house. And that was the house we had from, I think I was 6 years old, maybe, might have been 5, when the house was being built. And then we moved into that, and so that's the house I grew up in the whole time. Huge house, let's see, 4 bedrooms, 2 stories, 3 bathrooms, 2-car garage, I think 11 acres, and my aunt and uncle were up on the hill just right by us, and then my grandparents were just down from them, and all walking distance. You could just walk up there in just like 5 minutes or so. And so that was really neat, and it was kind of a farm, and yeah, all this acreage, and it was a great place to grow up. And so some financial things happened with my parents after I moved out, and my brother moved out the year before me, and my dad ended up losing his job at the local school, probably, I don't know, maybe 4 years after I moved out. And that was a whole drama situation, being a small town and everything. Anyways, it took him a while to find a job, and over a few, and they tried to get like renters in the downstairs part of the house, and just bad renters after bad renters, and people basically squatting before it was a thing, and they had to evict people. And so what ended up, I'll get back to when I was a kid, but this will just kind of give you an idea of what happened. They ended up losing the house, which was extremely unfortunate and all that. And my mom ended up getting a job way far away. And so, yeah, he was working in one state, she was working in another, and I think staying with one of her siblings. And so they had a rough time for a while, but what ended up coming out was that they were basically drowning in debt. And so, when we were growing up, my mom was in banking for 20 years, probably more than that. And so she knew, a lot of financial stuff, and she would teach us, it's good to save. It's good to build your credit. And I think I was maybe 17 and maybe 18. And when I got my first little store credit card, I think it was Shell Gas. And it was all about, oh, you have to build your credit. You have to build your credit. And, just, fill up your tank and then pay it off. I don't even know if they told me to pay it off, just don't be late on your payment. And then, get credit cards to build your credit. So down the road, when you want to buy a house or a car or a whatever, then it'll be easier and you can qualify for more and all of that. And then she also would know, working in a bank, like a big branch, she would know about investing, like if like some type of money market thing or CD, certificate of deposit, you buy it at $50 and then on X date, a couple years later or whatever it was, it turns into, say, $100. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But she had, lots of things like that. But my parents would also, I never knew this growing up. I knew that sometimes they would be really frugal with, like, my dad was really, don't leave lights on when you're not in the room. And we would get in so much trouble. And my dad he had a temper and he was a yeller. So we would get yelled at and get in trouble. When you're a kid, you don't always think about, oh, I have to turn the light off. But especially if you're just running around and this and that and grabbing something and running somewhere else and doing this and that. And he also would time our showers to save on hot water and electricity and that stuff. And I remember my brother, I don't know, for some reason he would really target my brother to time him. And me too, but for some reason that's what I remember. And and then they wouldn't buy hardly any snacks whatsoever, no sugar cereal, hardly any goodies around the house. And so when, we did actually get something, my brother and I would just inhale it. And it was such a big deal. Like, my gosh, kids like snacks and little sugary things. And I'd go over to friends' houses and, they'd have all the, packages of cookies or ding dongs or Hostess Twinkies. Excuse me. And it was always such a big deal, or like fruit snacks or little pudding cups. Excuse me. And it always just blew my mind, like, wow, you guys have that? Or cheese, like wrapped up cheese, they call it plastic cheese nowadays, or string cheese, or we didn't have any of that stuff. And I remember if I wanted a snack that might be sweet, I remember just going through all the cupboards and trying to find anything. And we had a bag of shredded coconut, and it must have been the sweetened kind, not the unsweetened, but who knows. And I remember snacking on that. I was just like, gosh, I mean, sometimes you just want some little goodie. But so come to find out, as I'm older and my parents are gone and I inherited boxes and boxes, probably 100 boxes and totes of paperwork, and they kept every little document ever. And so not that I went through everything, but I just glance at it and see if it was anything. And then I mean, we filled up so many garbage cans and recycle bins and all that when we were going through it. But I would see things about, them trying to refinance a house and then trying to, I think, do like a second mortgage to try to keep the house. And they had so much debt. They had, because we would, like maybe at Christmas, my parents would buy like a new living room furniture set. And one year we got all new carpet in the living room. It was a pretty big living room, and a new couch, 2 new sitting chairs, like swivel chairs, maybe a new recliner, but all kinds of new stuff. A new like curio cabinet, display cabinet, lighted glass corner display cabinet. And it's like, okay, they had to have charged all that. And I mean, and the only reason would be, just to, you want new stuff. And so you charge it. And yeah, that's pretty much how I was raised. I didn't know all the details, but yeah. And they always had different cars. They wouldn't be brand new, but it'd be like a new to them car. And oh my gosh, we went through so many cars. And my grandparents did too, who lived pretty much next door. And my aunt and uncle also. And maybe it was just a thing. And it's like, my gosh, you just see something new and better and fancier or whatever. And, one year is, oh my gosh, we have to get it was a Honda Accord, I think, like a 4-door, whatever. And then one year was, the new Dodge minivan thing. That was all the rage. We had to get one of those, and ended up lots of problems with that. And, oh my gosh, one year they had to get a Cadillac. It was used, and just all these, oh my gosh, it was always a different car, just constantly. And it became a joke, like we'd go to my grandparents for a holiday or just whatever, because they were right there. Oh, they got a new car. Oh, my aunt and uncle got a new car. Oh, look, we just got a new car. It was just nonstop. And so, yeah, as I have gotten older, it's like, my gosh. And they, like I said, they ended up losing the house, had to file bankruptcy, and to wipe out all their debt. And I don't have a number on all that debt. I'm sure in all those papers I could have found something, but that doesn't matter. So, yeah. So, I have learned that, oh my gosh, that's how I was raised to, you like something, you buy it. If you have a card to put it on, you put it on your card, and, you eventually pay it off. You don't, it was never told to me to immediately pay it off before the new bill comes out, because then you get interest on what you paid. So if you bought something at a really good price and then you add on interest for at least a couple months, if not, my gosh, a couple years, then you have paid so much. But yeah, I didn't know all that. So on the flip side, my husband was raised, if you watched any of the videos about us meeting or any of that, he's from Australia. They he was taught that, very biblical, that, yeah, you don't borrow money. And the Bible says, I think it's in Proverbs, yeah, you don't borrow from someone, because then, you're paying that plus interest, and then you are down underneath them, paying them back. You owe them. And I'll try to find that verse and link it in the description, and maybe also the comments. And so that's how he was raised. Like credit cards were a dirty word. You don't get them. You don't even think about getting them. If anyone had them, they were like, why would you get a credit card? So he was raised to, okay, if you don't have the cash for it, you don't buy it. Or you work extra to save up the cash to buy it. Or you get a second job to save up the money to buy it. And so we were raised completely different. So when we got together and got married, and he saw, because I did have a ton of debt, and that could definitely be a whole other video. And so, yeah, he was just shocked and appalled and just like, oh my gosh, that's just not okay. And like me speaking now in 2025, yes, I completely agree. Yeah, credit cards are so bad. And, if I had any recommendations to people, either don't get them or have one of them that has no annual fee, that has a semi-low interest rate if you have to maybe have a month where you can't pay the full thing off. But the best thing is to pay it off every month. And I do have a card linked to my bank account that I get money back from, which I would recommend getting one that does that. Or if you get points, I used to have a Southwest card where I got so many points. I would fly all over pretty much for free. And, but then I had this huge debt on this credit card. So yeah, if you can look for those things, if you're going to get one. But yeah, money back is, I would say, is the top thing, and no annual fee. I mean, that's just wasted money if you have to get one at all. But yeah, so I learned those things basically the hard way, and also going through, like I said, their paperwork and all these documents. And it's like, gosh, they really were scraping by. And I mean, we didn't know it growing up. They were frugal, like at Christmas and birthdays, we wouldn't get too many presents, which I was always jealous of my cousins or friends who got a lot of stuff. But yeah, my parents were frugal, which is fine. But I think also they were so strapped with debt and bills and payments with this and that they couldn't afford it. So sorry, this is getting on to almost 19 minutes, but I wanted to do this video, and I'll tag my friends and put that Bible verse down below. So let me know what you guys think, if any of this sounds familiar, if you were raised the same way. And oh my gosh, it's really eye-opening when you're adult and you find out things about your parents, and especially finances and just the way things were growing up. Excuse me. And yes, definitely things are not always as they seem. So, okay, well, leave me a comment, and I hope you like the video and subscribe. Okay, God bless everyone. Bye-bye.